Hi, everybody. Christy Giannoni back in week 3 of our MPA 530 Public Finance and Budgeting course. This week, we're taking a look at revenue and taxation. And like for the past few weeks, I will be once again taking a look at the City of Palmdale's adopted budget for fiscal year 2021. I'm going to be taking a look at the top revenue sources, percentage of total revenue, and assessment of their tax structure. So as you can see from this graphic, their top revenue source is property tax. Coming in number 2 is sales and use, and number 3 transfers in. You can see these numbers highlighted by these red triangles for the first, second, and down there at the bottom is that transfers in. I think something worth noting is if you take a look at the fiscal year 20 projected and fiscal year 21 adopted, you can definitely see a decrease in the sales and use tax. You can see a decrease in some of the other areas, such as any type of transient use, occupancy tax, and this is directly due to pandemic challenges. So a lot of cities are seeing this. We're having a look back period to see what the hit actually was for when we had certain closures that were mandated by county and state regulations. And so that really affected our local government budgets and how they're trying to recover those funds going forward. So these revenue resources or incomes that the cities are receiving are going to be really important moving forward and how they adjust to try to recover some of those lost funds. Highlighted here again for that number 1 property tax, we can see the top 10 property tax payers within the City of Palmdale. I think it was very, prevalent to them pointing this out and having its own section within their budget to show these top contenders for, contributing to this property tax revenue. So if you take a look at the percentage, we have the property tax coming in at about 33%, sales and use at 25.9%, and those transfers in at 11.8%. So property tax being the primary source of funding for the general city services represents about, again, 33% of the general fund revenues. And property tax consists of county allocated property tax in lieu of vehicle license fees, homeowner property tax, and property tax passed through from the successor agency. Property tax is considered regressive. And so again, when we're taking a look at the regressive taxing, that means that it takes a larger percentage of income from low income groups than from high income groups. And on the opposite end, we have progressive tax. That's a tax that takes a larger percentage of income from the high income groups than the low income groups. And then there's proportional tax that we learned about, which is a tax that takes the same percentage of income from all groups. And so property tax is considered regressive. And again, property taxes are fundamentally regressive because if 2 individuals in the same tax jurisdiction live in properties with the same values, they pay the same amount of property tax regardless of their incomes. And then if we take a look at the sales and use taxes, again, that represent approximately 25.9% of general fund revenue and is a major source of revenue for the City of Palmdale. The sales tax within the City of Palmdale is currently set at 9.5%. And of the 9.5%, 1% is returned to the city, with the remainder being distributed to state and other public agencies. Sales tax is levied on activity related to the sale of general consumer goods, restaurants, hotels, food, fuel, and service station. And Palmdale's activity related to the sales of general consumer goods is the largest generator of sales tax, totaling approximately 32% of the total sales tax. And then again, this is also considered regressive as government applies sales tax uniformly to all consumers based on what they buy. And then coming in at number 3, this transfers in. This includes overhead and operating reimbursements for the city and direct cost of development related services and all development service revenue. So this isn't necessarily considered regressive or progressive, and so it would fall along the lines more of that proportional or flat rate where anybody who is getting taxed on this is at the same rate. So within these references, these first 2, the measurement of tax progressivity and our local property taxes, regressive or progressive, help me to figure out how those property tax, sales use taxes, and transfers in aligned. And then I found the last article, Understanding Attitudes Toward Progressive Taxation, to be the most interesting because I think it really pointed out how individuals view what they want the taxes to look like from these government agencies. So if we're talking about, this concept of vertical equity, or that people in different income groups should pay different rates of taxes or different percentages of their incomes as taxes, basically the unequal should be taxed unequally. And so, what that article showed was a hypothesis of how they were presenting the information to individuals, at what age they were presenting it, and kind of that difference of how we're viewing taxation as things change. And I think that a big factor that we're going to see affecting that is the pandemic. Again, a lot of agencies and individuals were hit. And so, how we're going to be viewing, revenue and taxation is going to be different. So thank you once again for listening to my presentation. I look forward to your feedback and hearing yours as well.